Well, it's this gentleman who represented Trayvon Martin's family when it comes to being an attorney that knows how to fight for our rights and get due justice, even though due justice wasn't necessarily served in that case. There is none other than Benjamin Crump. He's out of Tallahassee, Florida. You've seen him on the news plenty of times, and he's come here today with his family to spend some time with us and to talk about what we need to do to keep moving forward and stay progressive. So we're ready to say hello to Benjamin Crump, Esquire. He worked hard for that. There he is, the world famous Benjamin Crump. So glad to be able to sit down and speak with you. Tell us what your Circle of Sisters experience has been all about so far.
Well, it's incredible. I'm happy to be in New York. Thank you to WBLS. I am here with my wife and my 6-year-old daughter named Brooklyn. So Brooklyn is in the house.
Brooklyn's in the house.
And I'm honored to be here because, you know, sisters, in many regards, whether it's Trayvon Martin's mother, Michael Brown's mother, Oscar Grant's mother, have been truly the mothers of the movement. And as we have often understood, we have to have people fighting not only in the courtrooms, but outside the courtrooms. And the Circle of Sisters really every year reinvigorates me, but more importantly, it tells more sisters and mothers, aunts, cousins, everybody that we have to show up to court and serve on jury duty, because nothing breaks the heart of a black lawyer when you go in the courtroom with your black client, and the only thing black in the courtroom besides you all is the judge's robe. So if I impart nothing else at the Circle of Sisters, when you get your jury notification, it is imperative that you show up for jury duty. Can you just imagine, had there been a brother or a sister who was on the jury who got to decide Trayvon Martin's case, or the black person on the jury duty who got to decide Eric Garner's case, Tamir Rice's case, so many cases, Sandra Bland's case, Stephon Clark's case. I mean, if we're there, it changes the whole conversation. So we got to show up for our children.
So every police officer, detective, attorney has a case that they will never forget. It never leaves them. Other than Trayvon Martin's case, which I'm assuming that is it for you, what's a case that just won't shake you? It just stays with you, and tell us why.
You know, currently, and this is very critical for the Circle of Sisters, you all may have seen the video, I pray you have. Outside of Houston, Texas, in Baytown, Texas, there was a sister who was dealing with a mental ill crisis named Pamela Turner. She was simply walking home. This police officer, with no warrant, no probable cause, no justification, confronts this sister and starts to harass her. And you hear her saying over and over again, "Why are you bothering me? I'm just going home." A struggle ensues. He pushes her to the ground and she says, "Don't bother me, I'm pregnant." She literally says, "I'm pregnant." This officer not only has no regard for her, obviously, but he doesn't have any regard for the life that could be inside of her when he tases her while she's on the ground struggling with him. She takes the taser from him in defense of herself. Now, while she's still on the ground, the officer is on the ground. He can do any number of things. He can call for backup. He can give verbal commands. He can get distance. He can do anything. But what does he do? He shoots 5 times at an unarmed black woman who has just proclaimed that she's pregnant, and he kills her on the ground, and it's on video, and they still have not arrested this officer. And that case bothers me because when I think of Pam Turner, I see my mother being confronted by that police. I see my wife, I see my sister, I see my aunt. I mean, this could be any of our people that this officer just confronted and shot 5 times while she's on the ground and he's standing up.
Can you tell us, I don't even know how to come back from that because I'm just deeply moved from that. Mr. Crump, how do you keep going? How do you stay attached and engaged but not absorb all of this that you are experiencing as the attorney fighting for these families, fighting for justice, and fighting for what should be right in the court of law?
Certainly. Well, there's a couple of things. I'm a student of history, and I remember Frederick Douglass saying, without struggle, there can be no progress. So that keeps me encouraged. Number two, this year we've had two big verdicts that you all may have seen down in West Palm Beach, Florida. Corey Jones, who was the church drummer, broke down on the side of the road when the unidentified plainclothes police officer came up to him and shot and killed him and said that he did it because Corey Jones was attacking him. But unbeknownst to him, the tow truck driver recorder was recording it. And but for that tow truck driver, this white police officer would have got away with murdering this young black man who was the best that we have to offer. Well, an all-white jury came back and returned the verdict finding him guilty, and that was the first time that a police officer has been convicted and going to prison for killing a black person in the state of Florida in 30 years. In 30 years, think about all the black people who've been killed by police. That was the first time. And then 3 weeks ago, in Clearwater, Florida, y'all remember the parking lot case where it was on video. I see a lot of people shaking their heads. This parking lot vigilante, this white man, while he was in the convenience store with his 5-year-old son, comes to the parking lot where his baby mama and his 3-year-old daughter and 5-month-old son is in the car and starts yelling and cursing at her, assaulting her. They tell Montavis that somebody's attacking his girlfriend. He comes out and he pushes them to the ground. The white man takes the gun out, and you see on the surveillance video, Montavis, everybody starts backing up. He shoots Montavis in the stomach. He stumbles inside the store. You see the video surveillance in the store, and you see his 5-year-old son reach out to his father, and he falls at his son's feet, and that's the last moment he was alive. Well, I'm happy to announce that an all-white jury in Clearwater, Florida, convicted him, and so we had a victory not only against injustice, but against stand your ground. And so every day, we just have to keep fighting. And the last thing I would say, I have a book coming out on October 15th called Open Season, The Legalized Genocide of Colored People with HarperCollins. Please buy that book because we talk a lot about how we overcome this legalized genocide that has our children targeted for extinction.
Benjamin Crump, make sure we answer our call for jury duty, and if we ever get stopped by a cop, give us 2 nuggets very quickly of what we should do to make sure that we are not victimized to the best of our ability.
Well, as the great Tupac Shakur said, it's better to be judged by 12 than carried by 6. Don't try to confront the police right there on the spot. You keep your hands on the steering wheel. It don't matter how wrong he is. You fight the battle in the courtroom. That's number one. Number two, it is your constitutional right to film the police. You got these cell phones, you get them out. Cell phones, this technology has shown over and over again to the rest of America what we always knew, that the police use excessive force against black and brown people when it is completely unjustified. We need to show them that over and over again on video, because so much in the media, they like to show black and brown people looking like thugs and criminals. We have to create in their minds, police officers are just like us. There's some good in the worst of them and some bad in the best of them. And that they have to know when they go in that courtroom that our sons and daughters, they deserve every aspect of the United States Constitution that any other American do. Do those two things, and we'll keep fighting the power.
All right, so hands on the steering wheel, and we can film the police on our cell phone. It is our constitutional right. Is that correct?
Constitutional right.
And don't
Open
try to,
season.
All right. Open
Buy the
season.
book on October 15th.
You got it.
Thank you.
This
It's on
is
Amazon.
Benjamin Crump, Esquire from Tallahassee, Florida. We will go out and patronize his book. Thank you for coming to Circle of Sisters.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, WBLS.